Hello everybody. In this video, I'm going to show you how I made what I think is the best gun vise on the market today. I'm not going to show the features of the gun vise. That would be in a separate video in the description below. So let's get to it. 3D print all these components on your 3D printer. Here are the print settings that I use. And the way you see these components on my workbench was the exact orientation of how I had it on my print bed. So for this hub piece, for example, this was the bottom of my print bed. Source all these hardware components. You can find them in any typical hardware store. Get some aluminum tubing and cut them to length, as well as threaded rods. I just used a hacksaw, but you can use a power saw as well. Take your pressure pad piece, and on the other side, there's the bore. Take your number 10 washer and press it inside the bore. When you're done, you should have something like this. It's a friction fit. Doesn't require any glue, but glue would help as well. You can use any sort of punch. I'm just using the threaded rod as well as a hammer to give you your hand to press the piece in. Take all your threaded rod pieces and push them inside the knob. You'll need to drill a hole through the threaded rod, just like what I did to this one, and then punch a nail inside. You can use a pin as well, but I have some nails lying around, so I just use some nails. We're now going to assemble one of the 3 legs. It's quite easy. There's threads inside this piece. You can put a little bit of Loctite, but I don't see it being necessary for me. I just hand tighten it down. Now that we have all 3 legs assembled, we're going to assemble the legs onto the hub. Again, this is very easy, just nuts and bolts. Everything on the hub here are all nicely snug tight, but I left all the feet loose. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to try to orientate all the feet so then they line up with the hub. So the first step is for these legs, I pushed them as high up as I could and I locked them down with this locking ring. And then all I'm doing is I'm eyeballing all the legs and spinning them to the orientation that I want and make sure it's all nice and level, and make sure all the feet are flat with the workbench as best as I could. And when everything looks okay, I'm going to use a screwdriver or a wrench, and it will snug down all 3 of these bolts that hold the legs to the aluminum tubing. The clamping jaws are very easy to assemble, just all nuts and bolts. The only thing you need to be careful is that this screw here that goes right here is the one that's 1.5 inches, and both of these screws are the 1-inch screws. So what we are doing right here is I'm first inserting the cross tube, and then I'm installing the lower plate with the notch right here. The bolt is what holds this lower piece from sliding out. So I need to line that with the hole right there. So this lower liner piece should not come out. Make sure this is flush. Now we take our active jaw, put in the nut, 3/8 nut. Looks pretty good. Next, we're going to merge the tripod assembly with the clamping assembly. First, put in the 3/8 nuts inside the hub. It should fall right in place. Take your knob and thread it through from the other side. Take the clamping plate, insert it inside the hub, take the clamping assembly, put that in. Now we got most of the assembly. Next and the final step, I'll be putting some foam. You can use some rubber if you would like to line the jaws so it doesn't scratch our firearms. I used some drawer liner foam. I got this entire roll from the dollar store for maybe $2. A ruler, double-sided tape, and a knife, and I lined the jaws with some foam. You can use some rubber as well, but foam works well for me. And the way this works is that I left an extra bit of foam, so as the jaws close against the clamping surface, there's a little bit of room for the rubber to go. And it works pretty good. And that is how I made this gun vise. All the plans as well as the 3D print files are all on my website in the description below. Be sure to check that out, as well as all my other videos. Comment, like, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful evening, everybody.